Hey, welcome to the Vintage Vibe, where today we're going to review a not-so-vintage amplifier, Yamaha's A-S1000. But man, does it look the part, and if I didn't know any better, I'd swear it was Yamaha's CA1000. And that's why today we're going to talk about Yamaha's newer natural sound stereo amplifier collection, starting with the AS1000 and today's later incarnation, the AS1100. Now, you know I love vintage audio. Take, for example, this old Bell 6060 integrated amplifier out of 1959. But you know, sometimes it's nice just to sit down and not have to worry about the snaps, crackles, and pops that are sometimes associated with the love of vintage audio. And that's where Yamaha's AS1000 really fits in. It really does look like a 1970s amplifier, but it's got all the modern reliability jammed underneath the hood. And it's a great option for those who really love vintage but don't want to take care of vintage, or if you're looking for a second amplifier that fits into your decor, that's an everyday driver. The first thing you notice about the AS1000 is it's heavy, and it's pretty big. It weighs about 48 pounds, and it is a really solid amplifier. The fit and finish is second to none. The machined aluminum face is perfect. The knobs are all solid aluminum, even including the small switches. They're not, plastic coated with some sort of a fake metal. I mean, this is the real deal. And I think what really sets it off is these real wood sides, or what looks to be real wood. It looks to be birch, or almost like a teak, again, reminisce of the old Yamaha amplifiers. Even the mounting hardware you can see is higher quality. And one of the first things you notice is that big Yamaha transformer just staring out at you. And with over 70,000 UF in capacitance, you know it's got one rock solid power supply, which should make for an awesome listening experience. And we'll get to that. First though, let's take a peek at the Yamaha, at some of the features, and we'll discuss a little bit after that our initial impressions and rate it as a yay or nay to fit in with your vintage audio collection. What I love about this Yamaha right off the bat is the attention to detail. The volume knob is really high quality. It's silky smooth. You've got right beside it an audio mute switch, which you can see quite cleverly drops down that volume for you and returns it right back to position. And here we've got our bass, treble, balance, and our input selector switch. As you can see here, as we do move the selector switch, you can hear the relay click in there. We move back again. Now this type of a switch really would do away with problems of poor contact, like you'd have in your traditional potometer of a vintage amplifier. You've also got here your speaker selector switch, speaker A, B, as well as A and B. Beside that, your phono jack. And I do understand it's a fully discrete headphone amplifier in this unit, which is quite nice. Right beside it, you've got a little sensor there for your remote control. Sit back and enjoy from your favorite chair, and then your power on and off. And here's the backside of the Yamaha. You got lots of room here to install, for example, your favorite power cord. And you can see the heavy-duty speaker terminals on the back of the Yamaha as well. Great to install your favorite cables. And I certainly had no problems fitting in my favorite speaker cables. Again, plenty of space, really well constructed, thick, sturdy jacks. The RCA provisions, you've got plenty of inputs. They're nice quality RCA jacks. And where your phono and your CD jack would be, they are a little bit thicker in nature, heavier gauge jack, and really nicely plated. Again, great to prevent oxidization in the future. So most importantly, how does the Yamaha sound? And if you weren't looking closely, that was actually a Yamaha CA410. The reason why I played that was that's usually what most people think of when you say Yamaha's natural sounding amplifiers. What is that natural sound? Well, it's a little more neutral, laid back, easy listening, relatively flat, but in this case, I would say the mid-range is definitely not as articulate. It can be a little bit muddy at times, and the bass just a little loose and again, not as well defined. The AS1000 is a completely different beast, as is its older siblings, the AS2000, 3000, and the more modern rendition, the AS1100. The first thing that jumps out at you when you listen to one of these amplifiers is they're equally as easy listening, but the bottom end is much more defined. It's a quicker amplifier in general as opposed to the older ones. The bass is very well defined. I'm using a 4-inch full range driver, for example, and the dampening and control, the authority in the bass is truly astonishing. It's not bright by any means. It's got good extension in the high frequency, but it's not your typical Japanese sounding amplifier. It's refined, but it's got oodles of power. I can't believe I just said oodles. It loves to play when you turn it up, and it's got plenty of grunt. The only thing that I could I don't know if the word is knock, with the AS1000 is the soundstage isn't by any means as wide as I've experienced, for example, with Luxman's LV105. But it's a much more focused soundstage. You definitely have no hole in the middle. It's all right there, but it seems a lot more tightly compressed in the center and not as expanding. And if the CA1000 was the inspiration for the AS1000, I'd like to believe the 10 series, for example, the CA1010, would be the inspiration for the newer AS1100. And here's a picture of my CA410, again, part of the 10 series where we had the addition of the VU meters. Does it make all the difference having little bouncy meters? Well, it is kind of neat, but let's dive a little bit deeper on whether or not it's worthwhile stepping up from the 1000 to the newer 1100. Something additional in the 1100 is it is a truly discrete amplifier, whereas the 1000 does have an op amp that I've been told is still in circuit even when the tone controls are in the mid position, which means it can't be fully discrete. Really, when you listen to it though, you wouldn't know the difference. The 1100 also, for what I understand, is a MOSFET amplifier, whereas the 1000 is not MOSFET. But aside from that, it's a truly remarkable amplifier, and certainly a bargain for what you could pick one up for used today. The 1000 in Canadian dollars right now, the average resale price, about $700 to $800 for a black unit, and for the silver units, usually around $800 to $1,000 is typical, a little bit more of a premium as they were a little more hard to come by. And if you opted for the 1100, well, you can expect again in Canadian dollars to fetch out at least 1,500, probably a little bit closer to 1,700 Canadian dollars used. I personally think the AS1000 is a bargain. Just a fantastic sounding amplifier. Really doesn't matter what you throw at it. Blues, jazz, rock. It pretty much sounds great with just about anything. So, does it belong in your favorite vintage setup? Well, if you're looking for a daily driver, it's a great option. I mean, it looks the part, sounds fantastic, and best of all, it's reliable. There's no gremlins. I mean, sometimes it's just nice to sit back and not worry about, well, all the things that vintage brings you. And it really does the Yamaha name justice. I had a CA 2010 a while back. phenomenal amplifier. Is the AS1000 better than the 2010? I won't say better, but it's definitely probably one of the best sounding things since that era. And for that reason, it's a yay in my books. Thanks for joining the Vintage Vibe, and until next time.